Who should be Ohio State's main running back for the game against Michigan on Saturday? We're here from cleveland.com. Nathan Baird, Stephen Means, Doug Lesmerises. We're at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center today, talking to Ryan Day, talking to defensive coordinator Jim Knowles, talking to some players. And Coach Day, Ryan Day got that question today, essentially, like straightforward. Doesn't Dallan Hayden, the way he's playing right now, deserve to be Ohio State's starting running back or the guy that they lean on the most? And Doug, the insightful part of that answer, it wasn't even just that, yes, he said he's playing well and it's worth considering. There was some other context that I thought Ryan Day threw out there that gave you an indication of what they really think of what's happening with that running back.
Yeah, he referenced the film. And that's when a coach goes there and says, I don't know if he said the proof is in the film, paraphrasing, something like that. It's almost like you see it, we all see it, and it's not about anything else then. It's not about what year you are. It's not about what your recruiting ranking was. It's not about how healthy you are. It's watch what happens when the guy has the ball. And then Ryan Day said the thing he always says about Dallan Hayden, which is you've got to take care of the ball. You've got to take care of the ball. You see Dallan Hayden in the second half last week. He's running through the hole with the ball like this. And it's like, why is Ryan Day publicly reinforcing that? Because they're going to give him the ball against Michigan. And he's like, every time it's like he's reinforcing that. He doesn't want the freshman to get a big head. It was the number one thing we talked about on the postgame podcast on Buckeye Talk on Saturday night. And I think we thought it then, and I think it even more now here on Tuesday. I think Dallan Hayden leads Ohio State in carries in the game.
Because I tried to ask, the question I asked, you used the term starter caliber to describe Ty Hamilton a couple weeks ago. Should you use that to describe Dallan Hayden after what you've seen? He was like, well, that's hard to say. But then later, a different question, I thought gave a much more committal answer as to where he's thinking. Another thing he talked about was that the offensive line graded out a champion against Maryland in this last game. And if the offensive line had been bad the whole first half and was the reason why the running game wasn't working, it wouldn't have graded a champion. And I thought that gave you a further indication of what Ryan Day sees from this offense right now, which is who's executing and then who's going in and taking advantage of that.
So the offensive line was in rhythm and they blocked it cleaner. But the most important thing he said there was guys were hitting the holes. And Dallan Hayden, we talked to him twice last week after the game, and then we talked to him on Wednesday night last week, and in both situations he got asked about his ability to hit those holes and those cutbacks. That's been an issue with Travion Henderson basically the entire second half of the season. Myan Williams at times will bounce it outside. Dallan Hayden never bounces it outside. He always hits the hole. So it's the offensive line gets blocked better, but the bigger thing with that, especially for what we're talking about, is the running back hit the hole. And that has been the big thing with Dallan Hayden. And why, yes, I agree with Doug. I'm more in the corner of not only are they going to give the ball to Dallan Hayden, I wouldn't be so shocked if he starts and ends up with 20, 25 carries again, just like he had against Maryland.
I was talking to Emeka Buka. He said that Dallan Hayden was a guy who took care of his business as soon as he got here. There's been a confidence in him that he proved on the field and probably caught people a little bit by surprise just because he came in so late. But a guy who was supposed to be fourth on the depth chart back then may be the guy who's at the top of the depth chart in the game. And real quickly on the running game also, no idea yet who's going to end up being able to play right guard. Matt Jones was hurt at the end of the last game. Ryan Day said Enoch Gramahi and Josh Fryer might both be in that conversation. We'll know more about that as we get closer to the game. So get the texts, 614-350-3315 for all the intel and updates that we hear all week. And come listen to us on Buckeye Talk, wherever you can find podcasts.